Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sansia Campbell, and I am the Partnership and Events Officer here at JBDC. As I said, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a while since we have met like this, and we are just coming back because we want to continue to engage with our client group and continue to share pertinent information as it arises, because we want to ensure that you are ready to deal with all the issues that may arise in your business at some point or another. So we are back with an online selling series, and we're going to have 2 sessions in this series, and we are starting with the very first this morning, and we are going to be looking at exploring e-commerce payment gateways for MSMEs, and we have a very special speaker with us this morning. He is Mr. Jermaine Bryan, a business developer with over 10 years of experience helping businesses build their strategic capacity to become profitable ventures. He has worked with founders, operators, and enterprise executives at all levels of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises sector to design systems that discover, validate, and commercialize visionary ideas with scalable market realities. He has supported over 800 businesses, and as a consequence, they have managed to create over 40 jobs for the economy and raise over 400 million Jamaican dollars in funds. So he is quite accomplished and quite, we're working on the audio, so you should be able to hear clearly in a minute. Once you're able to hear, just let us know. So, okay, thank you very much, LaShonda. So as I was saying, our speaker is quite accomplished, and to top off all of what I just said, he is a former business development officer from right here at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Mr. Jermaine Bryan is here, and he is prepared to share with us this morning. Please feel free to drop your comments in the chat. Just remember also that the session is being recorded, so if you know someone that wanted to be here and is unable to come in, the session will be available later on via YouTube. Thank you again for joining us, and it's over to you, Mr. Bryan. Remember, drop your questions in the chat, and then we're going to have a short question and answer segment following his presentation. Over to you, Jermaine.
Morning. Thank you for that very generous introduction, Sansia. And good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here once again. It's funny because when I got up this morning, I realized almost, well, a year and a day ago, I would have transitioned from JBDC. So me being here feels like something of a homecoming, and I am excited to be presenting on this topic, which is, sexy right now, e-commerce and digital transformation, and how we position small businesses to take advantage of the opportunities that exist regionally and globally. So today now we'll be exploring e-commerce payment gateways for MSMEs. Right. Now, before we begin, I just want to issue a few disclaimers. First thing, I'm not an e-commerce expert. I am not an e-commerce professional, and I'm not here to sell anybody anything. I'm not affiliated with any of the providers, and I won't be presenting from that perspective either. I want to take the approach from a conceptual position to help us understand and appreciate the fundamentals that we must have in place to take advantage of e-commerce while understanding and appreciating the framework that exists locally for e-commerce. This presentation is intended to just set the tone. As you heard Sansia say earlier, they are launching an online selling series. So this is the first of many series to come. You may see me popping up again in the circuit to speak on something else, as well as you'll be hearing from other speakers that are a little bit more, I want to say, baptized in the technicalities of e-commerce, and will be able to carry you through some of those technical considerations that you want to have in mind when you're positioning yourself for e-commerce. So any comparisons or mentions we make in the presentation this morning, it's purely for educational purposes. It's purely just to break this thing down so that everybody leaves here with a understanding of e-commerce payment gateways that are accessible for micro and small businesses. Yeah. And feel free to post your questions in the chat. I mean, I don't like lectures, even though I know we're working with a time, and it's very likely this presentation will have to take that format predominantly, but I want to hear from you. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your feedback, because in the Q&A, I want us to chop it up and see if we can, reason out certain challenges or certain questions that you have, which, may have been stimulated from the discussion. All right. So the objectives this morning are to help you guys understand the basics of e-commerce payment gateways, to explore various payment gateway options, and to discuss the benefits and challenges that are specific to MSMEs in Jamaica. See, 3 simple things. So before we talk about e-commerce and the reality or the prospect of trading online, we need to first cross that digital frontier, because for a lot of small businesses, they are still operating in a product first type of space where their customer experience is very physical and people have to be touch and feeling to engage with the service. And that incidentally is also what might be keeping you small and what might be keeping you from hitting those sales targets. So I want to just pause here for a brief moment to help you to appreciate a few considerations when you are positioning yourself to make that jump into the digital stratosphere. So I want you guys to think local when you're thinking e-commerce. I think a lot of people, a lot of SMEs have made the mistake of assuming that e-commerce, or them set up an e-commerce facility, it's an automatic access to a foreign market. And that is all that they focus, instead of trying to focus on the opportunity that exists locally in their communities, in their country, and serve that space accordingly. JBDC actually has an initiative that they're going to be rolling out in I think it has started, but it's a 2-year initiative, and Sansei can speak a little bit more on that, where they'll be training about 2,000 of you guys to get ready for the digital transformation, a part of which is e-commerce and trading online. So I want to encourage you to really seek guidance and to re-engage the JBDC in a different way, to see how some of these resources from the Digital Jamaica program can be made available to you. In the same way that this webinar is being made available to you, there'll be other resources and other programs and other initiatives that come up to help you get started, to help you adopt the mindset and to adopt the mentality to trade online. Let's start small. You don't need to spend a 500 or 600,000 on a website to start trading online. You can start for free on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. A lot of these platforms we have profiles on them already, but we're not really utilizing them to the best of our abilities. So we need to start revisiting those platforms and how we can, optimize them to start selling online, because a lot of them do have that functionality. It's just that we've been so accustomed to the free version that we don't realize that premium is not as expensive as you think, and it offers so much more value to you in trying to position yourself for e-commerce. There's also Canva, which is a tool that can help you with your content marketing. And that's going to be an important module in your e-commerce journey, because first impressions do last, and second impressions also last. So you can't take for granted that people will find you online because you're offering a service. You have to make the effort to present yourself attractively and to make your product, your value proposition, look better than anything else that you're seeing in the digital sphere. TikTok is another platform. Google Sites, I'm not sure if a lot of people know that Google, aside from Gmail, actually has a tool that allows you to create your own website for free. And you can, and them have templates, and you can set it up, and then you launch, and you have a free digital presence that you can send people to. Canva also has a facility that allows you to create a website. It's Canva Premium though, but nevertheless, they have a facility that allows you to create a website and establish digital presence. And then I have Namecheap here because I think everybody should start thinking about branding from very early. And a major part of branding is where your gate is going to be. So like when somebody trying to find you and you're giving them directions and you describe the color of the gate and the color of the wall. Your domain in the online space is your gate. I need to protect that gate, because chances are people are going to be out there who may have similar ideas as you and similar business names as yours. And they have some people out there who do this for business where them go around and them deliberately buy up people gate so that them can resell it at a premium. So I would recommend, if you haven't as yet, to visit a domain registry like Namecheap. You have others like GoDaddy, and see if you can purchase and secure your domain. It won't cost you more than $10 for the year, and it will be yours. And then when you create a website on Google Sites or Canva, you can simply redirect people from the domain to the website. So you can start advertising with that website domain, and when people click it, brings them to the Canva website that brings them to the Google site. Yeah. Next thing we need to be thinking about seriously is mobile and mobile penetration, and how we are utilizing our mobile devices. Mobile penetration in the Caribbean, and especially Jamaica, has increased considerably in the last 5 to 10 years. I have a statistic here that I'm going to be sharing with you later, but I think the GSMA Alliance reported that there are 3,200,000 registered cellular phones in Jamaica. And you and I know that is under 3 million people since the last census are reportedly living in Jamaica. So what that says to you is that technically almost everybody in Jamaica probably have a cell phone. Or if not everybody, maybe some people have 2 or 3 cell phones. But the point is, it is demonstrating the vast market potential for mobile marketing and doing business through the mobile that we need to start taking seriously. And then the fourth thing I want you to think about is your niche. The digital space is very crowded, guys. It's crowded with a whole heap of positive things, a whole heap of negative things, a whole heap of controversy, you know, a whole heap of, there's a whole heap of information coming at us every single day. And you have to go out there and sell to your customers while they're being bombarded all of this information. So the recommendation I usually give to my clients is to not try to do the same thing that everybody else is doing, but try to think and research and figure out a way to do your thing differently, to deliver your thing differently, to brand your thing differently, but try to find that niche space in the marketplace that can separate you from the rest. It's the only way you're going to get people attention, especially with their attention spans being so short these days. And then finally, we need to be embracing continuous learning. So a platform like this is excellent, and your attendance here shows me that you guys are serious about trading online and serious about scaling a business through e-commerce. But there are other platforms that I want you to consider. There are blogs, there are podcasts, there's YouTube with a whole heap of content from people, specialists in e-commerce, who are freely putting out content to help you set up and position yourself. There's this podcast in particular, the Digipreneur, that I listen to from time to time, from this guy, Karen Rose, who's based in Trinidad. And for me, I find that content excellent. I think he's very good at what he does. And he tries to, you know, contextualize digital transformation in the Caribbean era and the Caribbean experience. So that's a recommendation I'd give to anybody if they are interested in learning more about e-commerce and building their learning. But these 5 things, these 5 considerations, I want you to have in mind while you are thinking about e-commerce. It's not just setting up a facility or setting up a bank account and trading online. There are so many more modules that go into doing it successfully. And that's why we're here this morning, to introduce some of these considerations and some of these contemplations, right? So in Jamaica, interestingly, I think we have I'm going to say a misconception about what an e-commerce payment gateway is. And a lot of us might think e-commerce is only when you're there on Amazon and you're about to check out and spend it under $50. We're under $100 now, thanks to the increase in the duty increase for them give in April. But most of us, so when you're e-commerce, that's what comes to mind, right? But interestingly, we've actually been engaging with e-commerce for a number of years in different formats, different ways. Because e-commerce, in theory, is simply an electronic payment method used to receive money in exchange for products or services. That's literally why the E and the commerce come together. Because we know commerce are business, buy and sell. And we know E, in terms of industry, E is something we use to identify anything online, anything technology. So you put them two together, you have a facility that helps you to get money in exchange for goods and services. So debit card, which is something that we've been using for some time, is actually a form of e-commerce, because your money in your bank account is connected to this card that you now are able to use to buy goods and services in the marketplace and get them in your hand. And then the merchant gets their money in their bank account through the bank because of this device that you have used in your purchasing experience. Yeah. Link which is a mobile wallet that is currently being, I think they were previously with NCB. I'm not sure if they are still attached, but Link is one of the first movers, and I say one of because there have been other first movers in the past, but Link has been, they've been doing something a little bit better than the others because they're still around. And what Link does essentially is gives you an opportunity to convert the cash that you have in your bank account into mobile money, digital money, so that you can use it and that you can use your phone yourself and pay for things. So let's say you are out and you are at you're having a dinner, you know, nice dinner, anniversary dinner, and you forgot your wallet in the car. You know, what Link is saying is they will save you the embarrassment and allow you to take out your phone and just cover the expense using their app. Challenge Link is having though is they need to create a product market fit because their business model is multi-sided. So they need to have enough eligible merchants and enough eligible people that want to use the platform for it to work. I think they've been having reasonable success so far, especially with the tertiary space, and the Gen Z seem to be catching on to it. And I really think this is going to be the future, especially when I look at mobile penetration rates in Jamaica currently. I think it's a no-brainer that mobile money is going to be the next frontier that we conquer. Smart card. So enough people might not have been expecting this, but yes, if you take bus and you know that struggle, then you know how easy the smart card has made the experience of taking a bus since it was introduced. And the smart card is a form of e-commerce because it is a form of delayed payment, just like the debit card. You load on your money, and because of the technology that exists in the buses, you're able to connect that money wherever you loaded it on to the bus to go inside the bus and take a seat. Yeah. JamDex now is a digital currency, very different from Link, because Link is a mobile wallet, so it's still money Link are deal with. But JamDex is a digital currency, so that's literally an alternative to paper. So you have paper, you have coins, and then you have JamDex. And this is being introduced from the BOJ, so you know, so it's serious. And I think Jamaica is the third country in the world, not even the United States, has piloted a digital currency as yet. So this is something we are actually pioneering for the region. And what JamDex is expected to do is to operate as an alternative to cash. So in the same way, for argument's sake, have you ever been in a situation where you go buy something and it come up to, let's say you walk with cash and you go buy something, you go buy a patty or you go pharmacy, go buy some Panadol, and it could come up to an amount where maybe it's short $50 or it's short $30, but you know have that in your pocket, you not even have your wallet on you. And then you go in the car and take out the coin them and come back, go back at the pharmacy to complete the transaction. So JamDex are going to serve a similar function to those coins in your cup holder. So going to be another form of currency that is acceptable in the marketplace, and it is being piloted and being pioneered by the Bank of Jamaica. So you know there's serious leverage behind it. And then prepaid mobile credit is also a form of e-commerce. We think about it because especially now where most of us top up our phones and put on our plans through an app on our phone, on our cell phones. It's a form of e-commerce because paper is not being exchanged anymore. It's a it's a transfer of products and services is happening, but it's happening through this electronic payment method. It used to be through the scratch card. You scratch it and then you type in some numbers on your phone, and that used to be the portal. And it, in some ways it still is for you to load on credit, but it has evolved and updated since to be so much more seamless and so much more user-friendly, and so much more transparent, you know. So these are just some types of e-commerce payment gateways, and I wanted to talk about this because for some of us who are very small, we may not have the capability or the budget to afford an e-commerce facility. But there are models that exist already that we can tap into, models with lower barriers to entry that we can tap into to still be a part of the e-commerce transformation that's happening. And then there's cash on delivery, which I know is a big thing for a lot of us small businesses, especially if we selling services that have a lot of logistics tied to the delivery, and services that are products and services that are not significantly expensive, you know, like you're selling food or you're selling clothes or jewelry. I notice a lot of people have actually incorporated that in their models and are experiencing reasonable success. So cash on delivery is another model that you can contemplate. Risky, but nevertheless, a model of e-commerce. All right. So, what is a payment gateway? And this is where we're going to segue from those different models and spend a little bit of time on the digital ones that we are familiar with, you know, which is a POS machine or the websites with the checkout button if you're buying something online. Yeah. So a payment gateway, people, is simply a technology. Simply a technology that merchants, you being the merchant, use to accept debit or credit card purchases of customers. So this became very popular with the proliferation of debit credit cards in Jamaica. More consumers walk in with less cash, maybe because of fear that it is not safe anymore to have so much cash on them, but then walk with them card. And the penetration has gotten so high that it's becoming more and more viable to do business using a POS machine or using a e-commerce facility. So a payment gateway is really just a technology on the front part of the business. That's why we call it front end. And what that technology does essentially is take the information very, very quickly. So if you were to break out the steps, you would see that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it normally happens in like 3 seconds. What I'm really doing now, when you run your card or you enter your credit card information and click checkout, what I'm doing is take your information and go down at the bank and tell the bank, say, but Mr. Bank, Jeremy and Brian want to spend $100 from his bank account for buy this. And then Mr. Bank has say, all right, hold on, let me check if he have $100. All right, so he have $100. And then him give you like a permission, you can go ahead. And then you know run from the bank, go back at the merchant and say, yeah, the bank said we can do it. We can push through the transaction. That is what happens essentially. But it's happened so quickly. You ever shopping, well, we're going to use the brick and mortar context. You ever shop and you run your card and you see it load for like a 2-3 seconds, that's what's happening. You know, somebody go to the bank with the information to confirm if you can afford to pay this thing. Then come back, tell the merchant that you can afford it so that your transaction is processed. Yeah. So in physical stores, as we know, payment gateways are usually point of sale terminals. And these now can accept credit card information by card, and sometimes smartphones. So some I've seen some spaces in Jamaica. My experience has usually been on the tourism belt where people have NFC enabled payment on their phones using Apple Pay or Google Pay, and them use them phone and pay from the POS machine. It's not as prevalent as yet, but it's getting there. We're getting there. I think we have all the fundamentals in place. Foundation has been set for us to really take off digitally. And then in online stores now, the payment gateway will be the checkout portal. After you're done shop, and you select your medium and your small and your quantity, and you say, all right, I'm ready now. I'm gonna go to checkout. I said that is what is happening when you click that button. Same thing happening in the POS machine, same thing happening in the checkout. Let me pause briefly for just jump into the chat. So I'll go into the chat. Somebody asking what is NFC. NFC is, okay, somebody answered, near field communication. All right, so this thing is, oh, sorry about that, guys. So how do payment gateways work? So I may have jumped the gun a while ago to explain it in a simple way, but I still want to go back over it so that we leave here understanding exactly what happens when people run them card, a POS portal, or when them check out on a website. So what usually happens is you're in a store, you look around and you see some things where you like, put it in your basket or your trolley, and then you go to the counter and you make the cashier say, you're interested in purchasing these things. So the cashier is a representative of the merchant. At all the time you deal with the actual owner, sometimes you deal with a staff member, right? Then you take out your card now, and usually they'll ask you to tap or insert. Once upon a time, them used to run the ribbon, and then you put in your PIN. But now the POS machines have improved since where you can actually tap, again using NFC technology, or you insert the chip. And then what happens when you do that is the payment gateway, which is a POS, performs a security check. So them run go over your bank, check with the bank officer and to make sure everything all right and secure and the money there, and then transfer the payment details to the merchant's bank. And then that is when you would see approval. So approval is if the money is secure and it can go through, or rejection. That is if the money not there. You wouldn't see rejection, you'd more see card decline, but it's the same thing. So the rejection is because the bank said it can't work. Either the card blocked or the money not on it, or for whatever reason. Yeah? And then the payment gateway sends the funds to the merchant account. So assuming that it's an approval, the payment gateway will send the money. So on your bank account now, you will see reflected a hold or a credit taken out or whatever cash or whatever credit has been extended to you, because POS machines are compatible with both credit cards and debit cards, right? With the checkout portals now, you're online. So you're searching and you do your thing, and then you say, all right, I like this, so I go buy this. You click buy to purchase the service. Usually them ask if you enter your card details, you enter the 16 digits on the front of the card, you put in the expiration date, and then you put in the three little numbers at the back. And then the payment gateway does the same thing, where it performs a security check to make sure everything is copacetic to your bank and the money that's supposed to be in your bank to pay the person. And then the approval or rejection notification is given from the issuer bank then payment gateway sends funds to the merchant bank. So that's how it works. Simple way. Yeah. I'm hoping that I'm not moving too fast. I'm hoping that people are understanding, because this thing can be very, yeah, it can be very difficult to digest. So I'm really trying my best to break it down in a way that we can appreciate and leave here digesting. All right. So let's continue. So there are different types of e-commerce payment gateways.
Jermaine, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you.
Right. So I was wondering if you want to take a question.
Sure. Sure. Let's do that, huh?
Yes. All right, there's a question here. It's kind of long, and I hope that I'll be able to do it justice. I think she's asked, do you recommend that when we think e-commerce, we should think local and not international? But what if my target market is international, given that the international prospects can afford my service and demand, versus Jamaicans who may not take it seriously? Alia, do you want to open your mic and just stick up your hand for us, please? Because the question is kind of long, but I think you would be better able to explain it. Alia Dickinson, if you could just stick up your hand and we'll unmute you. So she really wants to know, should they consider, when they're thinking about e-commerce, should they consider local or international?
Okay. I think I understand where she's coming from. It would be good if she could open her mic and
We put it to hold up our hand so that we can open her. Okay.
but let me attend to, because I'm seeing the message here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the message here, right? So
Okay, I think I'm on.
actually I'm bored. Okay. Hi, yes, Alia. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, so what I
Alia?
was saying, I think it's just more profitable for me. Yes, are you hearing me?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I just think it would be more profitable for me to target the international clients because, they would have like the budget. And when I really look at it, I think it's a need in Jamaica, but for like the small business owners that are not earning much, they either wouldn't be able to afford it. And then for those who can, I think it seems as if the market is very small. So given that, sometimes you lose customers or you only retain them for a certain time, if I should replenish it, what if I, run out? My business seems like, it will die. How will I get that influx of customers when, the market is so small here in Jamaica?
Sure. So, Ali, it sounds like you're having a confrontation with profitability and
Right.
scalability.
Right.
So
Right.
Jamaica is a small market. While we have 3 million people, the serviceable demand for most businesses is a few 100,000 people. And I say that most small businesses. So what I usually encourage people to do is to see Jamaica as a testing ground, see Jamaica as a market, which is a very good market, by the way, because of the different institutions that we have and how we parallel a lot of bigger markets regionally. Markets in Africa, in Nigeria, I'm told, very, very similar to Jamaica, markets in the Dominican Republic, markets in South America. So it's a very good springboard to test and validate your service offering. So you can do that and still make profit enough. You just may not scale very quickly, or you may not achieve or put yourself in the best position to scale. but you need to first have a validated business model to even scale. So the question I should probably pose back to you, Alia, is if you think the product or service that you're selling is fully validated to the point where you know exactly who your customer is. You've identified a segment that will continuously buy this thing and is interested in supporting this thing for the medium term. Because if you haven't established that relationship with your ideal customers yet, then that is what you need to be working on right now in Jamaica. Because you will spend a lot of money setting up yourself to try and enter the foreign markets and get crowded out by the competition. Because remember, they have the home court advantage, being American or Canadian or British, and having the trust factor, higher trust factor in the minds of consumers over a local brand in Jamaica trying to compete. So you have to make sure so you get it right in Jamaica before you try to get it right overseas. So if people are not buying your service, it might just be a problem with your pricing. Maybe you need to revisit your pricing models to see how you can cut it up to make it more affordable or extend the customer experience so that people can buy it in different bits and pieces as opposed to what you want to sell it as. So sometimes as entrepreneurs, we have to admit we get stubborn sometimes with pricing and what we think where product or service actually value versus what the market can actually afford. So that would be my recommendation. Maybe your pricing model, because I'm almost certain that there's something there that can be done to make your product or service more accessible to the market here, and to at least give you the opportunity to run a viable business while you work out your export market strategy to go overseas and scale. Is that
excellent points? Excellent
is that
points.
a
I
good
do
response,
agree with
Alia,
you.
or you want me
Very
say some more?
good. Very good. What I never
Alia,
thought
are you
about
still
was
with us?
using. Oh, yes, I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Okay, Alia, sound like
Are
she's
you
with
hearing me?
us.
Yes, I'm with you, but I'm not sure if you're
Alia,
hearing
sound
me.
like she's with us. All right, so I'm going to have to move on here, people. But one thing, hold on there. Check. Alia? Or maybe it's me. Am I the one having the challenge?
We were hearing you, Jermaine, and we heard Alia as well. She said she got the information and she's good with it. She was going to make another comment, but you can move on. There are some other things in the chat, but we'll share it afterward.
All right, excellent. So types of online payment gateways. All right. So you might be seeing a lot of providers in the marketplace. Some of them locally based, some of them regionally based, and some of them globally based that have, penetrated our local market. But how much of us really understand the distinction between the different providers and what each offers, what they do, and how they can support our different businesses? This thing. So a popular option in Jamaica are hosted payment gateways. And what these do essentially is redirect the customer to a separate payment page for completion. So Amber Pay, Easy Payments, We Pay, you have one in Get Paid. A lot of them are facilities that you can plug into your business model But what happens is when the person is completing the transaction, they are usually taken away from the website and brought to another window, which is the Amber Pay or the Easy Pay window, to enter them information and complete the transaction. So this is very good for a lot of small businesses because it's pretty simple, and the security that you have to be mindful of when trading online is already taken care of by the provider of the service. A downfall, however, with using hosted payment gateways is that sometimes the redirecting to the other payment page can affect the conversion, because if somebody is shopping online and your website is not enabled for mobile use, sometimes it don't work as seamlessly as you'd like it to. And sometimes people don't trust it either, because Jamaicans are also very paranoid. I think the lottery scamming, I'm going to call it a pandemic, has made us very paranoid with our money and doing business online. And a lot of us are more comfortable for doing things online to see everything happening before us, as opposed to being carried over there so to complete the transaction. But I think there is light at the end of the tunnel, because these platforms have been growing considerably in terms of their market share over the years. And that to me is a testament to people relaxing and getting more easy, no pun intended, and comfortable with hosted payment gateways. Then you have self-hosted payment gateways. So what happens here is the payment information from customers is directly collected on the merchant's account, and then it's encrypted or protected and it's sent to a third-party payment gateway for authorization. So this comes closer to what we would say is a seamless customer experience, where you're shopping online, you press checkout, and everything is happening in front of you. Even though behind the scenes, there are actually 2 or 3 different steps happening to encrypt the data. Well, when I say encrypt, I mean is like protect the data or secure the data, and then carry it over yourself and make sure, say, the information where you put in is accurate and the bank can verify it. And then when the bank verify it, now the payment is completed, yeah? But the trade-off here is that the merchant needs to be PCI DSS compliant. And I'll speak a little bit more on that the next slide, but that's basically a cybersecurity standard that firms have to adhere to if they're going to offer self-hosted payment gateways. And it can be very expensive in terms of the time commitment and the financial resources it takes to set it up, which makes self-hosted payment gateways less appealing to micro and small businesses. And they have API-hosted payment gateways. So these are like Shopify, WooCommerce, and what happens here with the API payment gateway is essentially it gives you the opportunity to complete the entire transaction online. So while with the self-hosted, behind the scenes, there are some steps that are happening. With the API hosted, everything is in your control. You are controlling everything because you are now plugged into an e-commerce platform as a tenant where you can control the back end and control the front end. Yeah? So the merchant has control of the customer's payment experience, but it can be expensive, the cost to subscribe to these e-commerce platforms, and it puts an increased responsibility on you, the merchant, because these platforms are just platforms. They're just conduits, vehicles to bring you from point A to point B, but you're still responsible for all the other things that come with running an e-commerce facility. Apologies though, guys, we notice the positive things are actually in red for some of them. Negative things are in green. So my bad, that was just a human error. But I'm sure you understand and get the gist of the different types online payment gateways that are available. So when you sit in the marketplace, I'm hoping you'll know how to engage with them and which ones will serve your business. Yeah. Now, earlier with the self-hosted payment gateway, I mentioned something about being PCI DSS compliant. And simply put, PCI DSS is just a cybersecurity standard. It actually stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. Yeah. And it's something that was set up by International Cybersecurity Council, and it's a standard that all the major credit card and payment processing companies have signed on to and agreed that this is something that we believe everybody should have in place, and now it has become a standard. Yeah, that's all it is. It's run by the PCI Security Standards Council, and this was created by these industry players so that transactions involving credit card numbers are secure as possible. Because I don't know if you remember a time not so long ago when people used to get scammed heavily through credit card, entering credit card information on websites, especially in the early 2000s when these standards were not in place. Scammer them with run road red. Yeah. But since these things have come into place, instances like that have decreased. They haven't been eliminated, but they've decreased, especially for merchants that try to become PCI DSS compliant. Yeah. So there are different levels. So each merchant, depending on how much transactions they process annually, would fit into a different level of PCI DSS compliance. So for most of us here, which are small, medium-sized businesses, maybe we'll be at a level 4, but a bigger business now, like a Walmart or Amazon, might be level 1 or level 2, depending on the volume of transactions. That's all it is, guys. Now, when we're selecting payment gateways, right, there are some things that we want to keep in mind, especially as small businesses, before we make a move and spend this money. We need to think about the ease of compatibility with our existing systems, the access to technical support. So what is your existing system? Is your system an Instagram page? Is your system a website landing page? Is your system a WhatsApp? Because WhatsApp now has become a marketplace, and that is a system where a lot of people, I have a lot of clients who sell through WhatsApp. So you have to think about what your system is and which one of these payment gateways, you said the hosted payment gateways, the self-hosted or the API, would be most compatible with you. Yeah. And they also want to think about whatever technical support that you can get with that selection, because things will go wrong when we least expect it. And a lot of us are not technical enough to appreciate the nuances that sometimes come with technology breaking down the customer experience. So you have to think about that as well when you are selecting the system. Security. So every business should aspire to be PCI DSS compliant, because you have to protect the interests of your customer. A big part of the customer experience that I think is lacking locally is the attention that we give to safety of our customers. Sometimes we pay too much attention on just making the product and delivering it, but not enough attention on making sure that the customer is safe. It alarmed me how much of my customers never have insurance staff or insurance for them business place. And some people here will use e-commerce where we don't have mechanisms in place to protect from fraud or credit card fraud should something like that happen. You know, so You have to keep that in mind when you're moving forward. But if you're starting out small, starting out small, you don't have a budget, then maybe the hosted payment gateway is where you start, but you should always be aspiring to make increased investments as the business expands to ramp up security, protect your people data. Yeah. Then there's a customer experience. So depending on the type of product that you are delivering, you want to have a payment gateway that doesn't make that part of the experience as cumbersome as it needs to be. Because when somebody make up their mind to buy something and then reach a counter, the more if you can just give the cashier them money, go about them business. It's one of the worst things when you reach a cashier and the cashier gonna tell you, say, the card machine now work. Or the cashier gonna tell you, say, the Wi-Fi. I never see this when them are stretch your man in the ear to catch Wi-Fi for run the card machine. So that's just an example of how businesses are suffering and losing out big time. Brick and mortar businesses, because the part that the customer experience just needs some tidying up, and I'm losing a whole heap of customers, losing a whole heap of business because somebody will go to the competitor that is more expensive, but gives them a better customer experience. And I'm saying this specifically to Alia as well. People will pay money, Jamaican people cheap, but they will spend money on a good customer experience. Trust me when I tell you that, Alia. Jamaican people will spend the money on a good customer experience. And setup fees, transaction fees, monthly fees, POS machines. That's one of the things that is a major drawback locally, because I don't think the banks have figured out a way to make POS machines feasible for most small businesses, because the fees that are attached to just using or renting the POS machine is sometimes more than the money that you're making a month time. So when a man not making the volume that him want to be making consistently, him end up trading at a loss, because most time money going back to the bank for the transaction fees and the monthly fees. So we have some work to do on that front, because Jamaicans, while we are moving as consumers, while we are moving slowly towards a space where we're comfortable with e-commerce, a lot of us still prefer the traditional, in-person transactions. And that's why POS machines and the business model behind point of sale machine, I think, needs to be revised to facilitate that. So when we're implementing a payment gateway now, first thing we need to think about is our business ready to sell online? Do we have a digital presence? Do we have a brand? Do we have a customer persona that is readily accessible, available, and willing to buy our products online? We don't have them things there yet. Then you need to probably slow your roll and figure that out before you think about implementing an e-commerce facility. Next thing now is you need to define the buyer persona for online customers. So I'm going to use Popeyes, for example. So I don't know how much people here have ever used a food delivery app before, but there's one that popped up during COVID called Hello Food, right? And they are associated with the Popeyes, Little Caesars, and the third one is Popeyes, Little Caesars, and there's a third franchise, not coming to me now, but they are associated with those restaurant franchises, which fall under a group, I think it's Restaurants Associates group of companies. And they have been doing well because they were able, maybe the pandemic helped, to separate the people who got to Popeyes and join line with them cash or them debit or credit card, spend the money in branch, wait for them food, get them food, check them food, and leave. From the people them where they're home in them apartment or them their work in a meeting and them want some food. And them want it now. Them don't want to leave and break them concentration and them productivity. They want the convenience of having that brought to them. So surprisingly, and I say surprisingly because I know how cheap Jamaican people can be, it has worked. And since they did it, so I'm going to consider them a first mover. A lot of other firms have taken off on that model, especially where food and groceries are concerned. And I don't think that would have been possible if they were not intentional about separating their market and separating the customers that they serve between the ones that purchase in branch and the ones that want to have a more digital experience. Yeah. Then you need to set up a merchant account. Some payment gateways, I notice, have allowed their customers to set up with personal accounts. Usually it's like the payment apps, like the self-hosted payment gateways. It's not a best practice because I don't think that prepares you, the merchant, the entrepreneur, to be viable as a business if you're running your business income through your personal account. So you need to have a merchant account. If you're already operating, then it means you probably need to go file the taxes and get the taxes sorted out if they're not sorted out as yet, so that you can get a TCC, so that you can go to the bank and apply for a merchant account. Yeah, apply for a business account, and then they give you a merchant account. JBDC is very good at helping people put them financial affairs in order and putting you in touch with accountants and consultants that can take it another step further. So if you're in that position, which I know because I used to work there, so there's no shame in the game. I know how it is. But if you're in that position, guys, and if you tidy things up, get your affairs in order so that you can meet the requirements of the bank to get that merchant account. Yeah. If you're going to get a POS machine as the payment gateway, then you usually would get that through the bank that you have your merchant account with. But please invest in training your staff before you deploy the technology. I've experienced this multiple times where I am shopping somewhere, and when it is time to complete the transaction, the staff don't know how to maneuver the thing. And if you call the boss step on the other line, coach them through the thing. It doesn't look good on the business, and it wastes my time as a customer, and it wastes your time. Yeah, so invest in that training so that things run more efficiently. And if you're going to choose the online payment facility, then ensure that you study the requirements and you prepare your business model accordingly, depending on any of the three gateways that you choose, so that you can integrate with your chosen e-commerce platform. And then after you've done all of those things, you go to market. So that's my recommendation. Don't just jump and go get the facility. Make sure you have these fundamentals down first before you go to market. Because when you go to market, these different, whatever it is, whether it's a POS machine or it's an e-commerce facility, it will be costly. It's going to be an additional line in your operational expenses. Just Just have that in mind from now. So you are better off putting yourself in a position where you can earn enough to afford a profit, a kind of profit that can cover that extra cost than assuming that once you get the facility, Jesus will send the customers and he will see me through. Yes, people, God is our deliverer and God looks out for his people, but God also helps those who help themselves. And I am imploring you guys to help yourself to put in these fundamentals in place before you talk about going to market, right? So, benefits and challenges for MSME. So, e-commerce now, while it is I want to say while it is a productive pursuit, especially for small businesses that want to scale, there are some challenges that you will encounter, and it is better to know these challenges beforehand so that when they come up, you're able to navigate them a little smoothly. So in terms of positives, yes, your sales are going to likely increase because before you were just servicing the market that use cash, and now you're tapping into the market where you use credit card, and the market where you use debit card, and the market where you use mobile money, the market where you use mobile wallet. So your sales are going to increase. Cash flow now, you're going to be getting a lot of money in the business. Don't have to be profit. You're going to be getting a lot of money in the business. And that is going to prompt you now to start managing your affairs a little bit more responsibly. And that's primarily because with e-commerce facilities, banks usually have a certain stipulation where you have to report a periodic basis. Not all banks, I may not say all banks, but some of the banks I've worked with, some of my clients, they have that stipulation, and that creates a behavior in the entrepreneur to have to manage their money a little bit better so that they can keep facility. Yeah? And then people will probably start to trust you a little bit more. You know, when you have a facility like that in place, it demonstrates a level of seriousness and maturity in the business model, as opposed to the smaller, more rudimentary, cash-based model of transactions. So that's a positive, yeah? Negative though, there are going to be security concerns because people are still very paranoid when it comes to their money and making payments online. So that's something that you'll have to navigate with a lot of information and public education and breaking down these new updates and these new additions to the business model in a way that people can understand and appreciate. Yeah. The initial setup costs can sometimes be relatively expensive. We're talking $15,000 to $30,000 for a POS machine. And sometimes the e-commerce facilities them have what they do, they force you to subscribe for the year. And you get a discount. But if you subscribe monthly, you're technically paying more. If you were to just do it bi-monthly. So those costs can be exorbitant depending on the provider that you decide to go with and the volume of transactions that you're experiencing in a business. Yeah. And then there's going to be ongoing maintenance and updates, which sometimes will disrupt your customer experience. So keep that in mind, people, and make sure you have a backup facility in case the app crash or the portal now work, but somebody just submit something or them need to buy something today because them have a party tomorrow. make sure you have a facility where maybe you can go to them and, you know, do the thing in person, or have a bank transfer facility where you can share with select customers. Just make sure you have that in place just in case, yeah? So let's talk about Jamaica, yeah? I'm making the case for Jamaica to really take off with e-commerce. So Jamaica is actually the largest and most populous island in the English-speaking Caribbean. That's why people love coming here. That's why so much BPO centers are here, because we talk English very good. We're very smart. And because of that, no, we are more acceptable to customers overseas. So our intonation and our command of English language is very good. There are 2.3 million internet users in Jamaica. So as at January 2023, yeah? But there are 2.9 to 3 million people in Jamaica. So what that is saying is that over 80% of the total population is plugged into the internet. People, come on. That means 8 out of every 10 people, 8 out of 10 people. There are 86 people here on this chat. 8 out of every set of 10 owner in this room are plugged into the internet. But no, so some owner probably a thief internet, and probably they work a thief internet, or on they're on a back a thief neighbor internet. But 8 out just kidding, please don't take me serious. But 8 out of every 10 people are plugged into the internet, yeah? 3.2 million cellular mobile connections exist in Jamaica, or existed in Jamaica at the start of 2023. That is over 180%, 118% of the population has a mobile phone or a mobile phone connection. So that should be saying to you that anything that is an app or anything that can facilitate somebody using them phone to make a payment is a no-brainer on their business model, yeah? And then multi-link. So the multi-link network now, which allows debit cards, credit cards to be used. As of August 2023, 1.8 million debit cards can be used by customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's the limit. So that's just putting it in context that Jamaica is ripe, that the Jamaica consumer base is there, they are ready, they are available, but we now need to do the groundwork to put ourselves in a position to start accessing a serviceable market. Yeah? So I've prepared this, I want to say, decision matrix for you guys to consider, depending on the level that you're at in business. Second there, guys. So if you're a micro business, you're likely making less than $5 million sales a year. Probably you alone, or maybe have a couple employees, but you're not going to have more than 5. If that's the case, then maybe your payment, e-commerce payment option needs to be a combination of cash on delivery, bank transfer, or a mobile wallet option until you are scaling, or you're scaled in sales and capacity to take on something a little bit more aggressive, yeah? If you're a small business, you're probably making between 5 and 15 million. You maybe have a little bit more than 5 people, but you don't have more than 50 people. A hosted payment gateway is the way to go. It can be hosted, self-hosted, or even the API, e-commerce systems that plug into your website. If you're a medium-sized business now, you're making some money, can be between 15, 75 million, you have a good little employee base. At that point, you're If you have so much employees, and it's likely that you're making enough sales to pay between 50 and 100 people. So a POS machine is feasible at that point. But this is if you are a brick and mortar business wanting to retain the brick and mortar and trying to transition. But if you are an online business, you may not need the POS facility, but a hosted payment gateway is the perfect way to go. And then if you're a large business now, you're making a whole heap of money, you have a whole heap of employees, then a POS machine, so a large business would be like probably KFC, Burger King. Burger King. So with Burger King now, you can use the POS in the restaurants, but you can also use the app, the Hello Food app, pay for your food or pay for pay for your food or pay for your transaction if it is that you're using that to get food delivered to you. Yeah. And that's it, my people. I have made the presentation available in a folder, so you can put your phones to the screen and just scan that QR code, and it should take you to the folder for you to download the PDF. My name is Jermaine Bryan, and I thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your questions. For professional inquiries, you can send me an email at jermaine@jerby.business, or you can visit my website, www.jerby.business. So that's it from me, Sansia. I'll turn over to you.
Thank you so much, Jermaine, for sharing with us. Certainly a wealth of information. Jermaine, can you just repeat your website again, because they did not hear it? And in fact, just type it in the chat so that everybody can see it from it, please. Thank you so much, Jermaine. I learned quite a bit this morning. I did not know that WhatsApp provided a payment gateway. I didn't know that you could take payments over WhatsApp. So that's something new that I learned this morning. Of course, as Jermaine said, and as I alluded to earlier, this is the first of 2 sessions. So there will be another session on the 2nd of July, and we will be looking at open 24/7, developing the online selling strategy. So right there now we're going to look at product selection, shipping options, and stuff like that to ensure that persons are taking the rest of the right steps, the next steps that they will need to propel their business into the international space. I also want to make a point as well, or highlight a point, when Jermaine was speaking about the Jamaican market, and it is something that a lot of sellers always underestimate. The truth is, as he said, if you are selling a good product, if it's a quality product, regardless of the price, we're gonna buy it. So put it out there so that we will know what's available to us here, because it will be much easier a lot of times than trying to tap into other spaces such as Amazon or Etsy or any of the other platforms, e-commerce platforms. Also, I want you to know that JBDC has its own e-commerce platform, thingsjamaicансhopping.com, where you can find quite a number of local products, from food to fashion to books, jewelry, a whole slew of products locally made. And some of the persons who supply our stores are actually online this morning. All right, so are there any pressing questions that you would like to have answered by Mr. Bryan before he goes? Any questions? All right, because there was quite a bit of talking happening inside of the chat while you were presenting, Mr. Bryan. So you can, how do I get to be listed on the JBDC site? Well, there isn't a listing, as it were. What it is that we have a store, and if you go through the screening process or the market readiness process, and your products are up to par, we can take them in the Things Jamaican stores. We can also list them on the e-commerce website. However, if it is not up to par, don't believe that we're going to leave you hanging. We help you to prepare the products and get them ready for market. I see Mitzi Thompson's hand up, and Mitzi, I'm gonna unmute you for you to go ahead and ask a question.
Yes,
Go ahead,
Mitzi.
Mitzi.
Okay, my question, well, the packages that JBDC has over time, and I noticed that you guys getting good or better for entrepreneurs and all those persons who are interested. Do you have an umbrella where all of us who are interested in moving forward with what was just presented? Because I believe that you have our interest at heart. And I'm sure you have already implemented something for us to use as a guide. So once you have that guide, we will just capitalize on it. Is that so? In terms of the new development?
When you say a guide, are you referring to being able to tap into like a document that says, how do I get online? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Because I believe over time you would do your groundwork and you would reevaluate and reassess and then come up with a platform where we would engage. And then
Well,
you would go ahead.
We don't have a specific platform, but we do have officers. We have
Right.
business development officers who are experts in different areas. And once you come into us or you call us 928-516-125, we can put you onto a business development officer who will be able to guide you with the varying stages that you need to go through. So you can always give us a call, 928-516-125, or you may also go onto our website, www.jbdc.net, and I will type that information in the chat so that you can access it.
The other question for that benefit, ongoing benefit, we would have to be registered with your organization.
Well, we do not require a registration per se. Become a client and grow your business. So once you become a client, then you can tap into the resources that we have available.
All right, thank you so
Start by
much.
visiting our website. There's also some information that was just shared. JBDC provides business development services to help your business move from concept to market. The number is there. The website is there as well.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so for persons who were not able to scan the QR code, we will send you the presentation via email. Also, we're gonna send you our feedback form. We wanted to know what you thought about this morning's session. And we also want to ask you to join us again next week. Not next week, I'm so sorry, the 2nd of July, when we will present the second session. Note as well that this presentation will be available on our YouTube channel at JBDC Jamaica. All you have to do is just subscribe and you'll be notified when the presentation is posted. Thank you so much again for joining us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you on the 2nd of July. The link will be sent out shortly, so look out for it so that you can tap into that session. Thank you again, Jermaine, and have a great day, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Take care, everybody.